Hello everyone, and welcome to Beyond Small Talk. Hi, how's it going on this Thursday afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time? Great day in New York City. Hello. Hi everyone, my name is Jackie Janik, and I am a women's empowerment coach helping women uncover their purpose and define their own path in the world. How is everyone doing today? You are watching Beyond Small Talk, a place for phenomenal women to go beyond the daily chit chat and BS to get real, raw, and radical about legit topics we actually care about. Real women, real conversation, elevating womankind one talk at a time. And I'm so excited to have a dear, beautiful friend of mine. Her name is Pamela Delgado, and her handle is so cute, @HeyPamD. So happy to have her today. She is the founder of a women's empowerment line called Rolly Bold, and this is one of her t-shirts. It says Dare to Dream. She's a community builder and digital marketer, mom of two boys, and wife residing on the Upper West Side. And today our topic is called Ally and the Family. So we're going to invite her right now. She's here, and waiting for Pamela. Hey. Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
Good. I'm good. I mean, as good as I can be. I'm alive,
Yeah,
healthy.
that's all right. Can you
These
hear
days,
me
like
while I'm having,
I can.
can you
Can
hear
you hear
me?
me? Yep.
Yeah, yep, okay. It was just a little low and I just didn't want, oops, any audio issues. Your hair looks great. I saw you on talking about the curly hair girls day.
Yeah. Usually, I don't know. To me, I just feel prettier straightened. I've always had a
Uh-huh.
with my curls, but I'm learning to embrace them, and
Yeah.
it's just easier.
I mean, you're busy. You're a mom, like Rolly Bold. I announced you're a digital marketer, a community builder.
Mhm.
Today I posted about you. I saw that you saw, and I'm just so
Thank you.
grateful. Oh, that we met and that, like, it was the time where I was like, you had more confidence in me than me. And I was like, that's so sweet of somebody who doesn't even really know me. So thank you.
No, thank you.
So today on Beyond Small Talk, we're talking about ally in the family. I'm sure we're all aware of lots of conversations going on in the world, and sometimes they are hard and challenging. And I know and I see what you post in a bit of behind the scenes conversation. But talking to your loved ones and your family while I mean, for me, I'm always like thinking we're all aligned and all on the same page and we all have the same values and beliefs. And then you realize, holy crap, we don't.
Hmm.
So I wanted to get a bit into that with you. But first, I'm sorry, I should have said, would you like to share who you are, what you do, and anything like that?
You introduced me.
Okay. I don't want to forget,
I'm
see, I'm
good. I'm ready
wearing Dare
to
to Dream.
dive in. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. I think it all ties in with this conversation, though. I think part of Raleigh Bold is to be authentic in who we are and to be kind and to be fearless. And I think more than ever, we have to be fearless now because they've just sort of had control of everybody's lives, and sort of manipulated how we live. And enough is enough.
For sure. And let's start like with where I was so curious because some different beliefs in my family. How have you been opening and starting the conversation, and what kind of feedback or what are you getting? Like, what's the whole feeling amongst the family? And I believe this is your extended, like your mom, dad, cousins, not like your little, your children, and yeah.
Yeah, the four of us at home, we're all on the same page.
Hmm.
Um, but all my family is in California for the most part, so I don't have to engage with them daily, and I don't engage with them daily. At the beginning of the month, though, we are in a family group message, so certain comments have been said that literally make my blood boil. And I
Mm.
literally am like, if I were to be a cartoon, I'd be red with fumes coming out of my ears. Um, but I've always known that there was some racism in the family. We grew up in a, well, I grew up in a Latin household, and there was always comments in dating black men. Um, Certain comments like, "Why don't you see the light?" and why does he have to be black? Why don't you date like somebody from a different race, or you know, certain comments like that. But it was usually more in who we're dating.
Mm-hmm.
However, I thought it was just like who we date. But then when this conversation started at the beginning of the month, I noticed that these comments also came from family members that I didn't expect it to. And so
Mm.
in moving, not only have I seen my family's true colors and see them in a different light, because now I've created my own life, and before I sort of looked up to them. Um, but now that I see how they've lived their lives and see the decisions they make and see their points of view, it just makes me like completely take a step back. And even though they're family, I can respect them, but I don't have to, now that I'm an adult, I don't have to do the things that they want me to do or live my life the way they want me to live my life. And I'm certainly not going to raise my kids the way they want me to, because I don't want them to end up that way.
Okay. How did it feel when you first like either realized that it goes deeper than dating? Um, I mean, I'm quite older than you, and when my husband is black, and when I first started dating, I literally kept it a secret from my entire family. Well, not that's not true, not my entire. My sister and my cousins knew, and people
Mm-hmm.
around my age. But my parents, my grandparents, for a considerable time, I'm talking like at least minimum 5 years, and then started. My cousins were really integral of helping me talk to my dad and my mom and my grandparents. And I remember my grandmother saying to me one day, because I never had a boy around, right? Because I was dating a black guy, and and she said to me, "Are you gay?" And I said, "No, he's just black." And she was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Does it like where do you go with that? Like, what do you do?" So, but it was really it was heartbreaking because I just admired her, and we had a lot of nice conversations after that, and at least that worked. But in the beginning, I felt like I was hurt. To be honest, I was hurt by their points of views. Did you feel any of that, or were you just like, how did you feel?
It was very disappointing because I held my family and my aunts, particularly, to a very high standard. I get a lot of my drive and determination from them. So, whew, it it
It
does
hurts,
sting.
right?
It does sting. Like, like I viewed you here, but you're actually not that. I'm not sure where the shift happened, or
Hmm.
because they've dated black men. So I'm not, honestly, I don't know where it comes from. And we haven't really dove deep because I'm so persistent with it. And I'm like, no, you're wrong, or no, it's this, and here's why, and here's the facts. They shut down, and or they're like, take me off of this chat message, or we don't want to talk about this anymore, or let's just not have these conversations anymore. And my mom, who's actually arriving to New York tomorrow and staying with me for a month, even before she
Wow.
came, she said, what if we don't have these, or can we not have these conversations when I'm there so we can have a good time? Because she already knows where we all stand,
Mm.
and my sister included. Like, we are going to have these conversations, and we're going to tell you that you're wrong. I'm not a child anymore. And I've never really stood up to my mom in a sense like, you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. I sort of like this is just how you are, and I'll deal with you when I have to deal with you in a certain way. We have a very creative relationship. We're not like the closest.
Hmm.
So it's going to be very interesting because my husband.
Oh no, I think we lost her. Oh, hold on. She's coming right back. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Waiting, waiting. Okay, you're back.
Sorry, well, I don't know what happened.
That was crazy. I was like, did something happen in New York? No.
I'm like, it hasn't been an hour because usually
No.
Instagram kicks you out after an hour. But no, we're always staying on top of what's going on, and we live in a small New York City apartment, so it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, tight quarters for sure is opportunities to open up conversations. I mean, how long can she hide in the bathroom or something like that? It's like, and it's your mom. I mean, you said like you've had a interesting, would you call it, relationship?
Yeah, she also works for LAPD and drank the Kool-Aid, so.
Okay. So yeah, so that's yeah. And similar, my mom's quite old. I go with the old lady. She's 77 and has very old school mindsets. And sometimes we have conversations, but then I think, am I wasting my time here? Like, it, is it ever going to change? And my husband's like, she's never going to change. And I was like, but I don't know. So I'm kind of torn. Do you ever feel like where should you put your energy? Are you trying to, yeah, where does it feel like it's useful to put your energy with certain people, or I don't know what to do about that at the moment.
I don't know what to do about it either because we're so distant. I mean, we live cross country and I'm
Hmm.
hardly in LA. I think I would probably feel more pressure in having to deal with it if my kids had to be around them 24/7 because I
Mm,
wouldn't want them to influence them. And although my kids are not the darkest, they're black, they're half black. Um, so I just wouldn't want them to instill any of their negativity or
yeah.
negative beliefs onto them.
Hmm.
So since we're not close, I don't know. I'm not in a rush to like get it out of them or like try to dig deep. I don't know. Maybe it's me like avoiding it.
Hmm.
Um, but their beliefs right now don't affect me because I'm not around them. And
Yeah.
they're not, it's interesting because they're not like advocates and passionate in what's going on as I am. So I feel like their beliefs are in their own bubble and isn't going to affect anybody else but them.
Mm. Yeah,
However,
I see.
however,
Yeah.
they will definitely benefit once all these changes and new laws take effect. They're going to be loving it. So we'll see what happens.
Then they'll owe you a big fat thank you. Told you so, it's like, has it trickled? Because you said besides outside your mom, like your cousins, I know your sister and you are, very aligned. My sister and I are 100% aligned and my cousin. So it feels good, but, sometimes I feel like I consider my friends, people I've grown up with, they're like my sisters. Like we've been attached for a really long time and kind of feel like an outsider on some of these topics. And it's after having these conversations, how do you feel? Sometimes I feel completely and other drained and it sits with me for a while. Like I don't know how to move that conversation. Have you experienced like after having this big conversation, what do you feel like and how do you take care of yourself?
It is exhausting. I've cried. I like to work out and go for a run. Um, Anything that brings me joy. I'll sometimes when the kids go to bed, I'll put music on and just dance around my living room. Obviously, I'll have a drink, but that doesn't like solve anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel good. So I sort of have to like literally release the energy with like movement or some crazy intense workout to where I feel like I literally left all the anger doing that. Um, and I haven't had this conversation with a lot of my family members, again, because nobody wants to have this conversation. Um, Yesterday was interesting because we have a bigger group chat with like my cousins and uncles, and everybody in California are talking about how the numbers are rising. And a family member said, yes, they're rising because of the protests, because nobody's wearing masks. And I'm like, clearly you haven't seen it because everybody is wearing masks. How about those people in Newport Beach who are protesting about not being able to get a haircut who were not wearing masks? So it has nothing to do with the protesters. And of course, nobody in the group chat said anything because it makes them feel uncomfortable because they're wrong.
I think that's one of my biggest realizations during this time. It's not that I didn't believe, I just wasn't a loud voice, you know?
Yeah.
Like I have to admit I wasn't like I might not have would have commented, like being like, no, you're wrong. Like that's not true. Because yeah, one of my friends did say to me, because she's concerned about it coming back to New York and the rise and whatever. And she's like, well, we'll see more after the protest. I was like, why? I was at a
I'm
protest
more
and
concerned with the people at
everybody.
the bars than the protests because everyone's wearing masks and safe, but everybody is like at the bars, all crowded in front of the bars and restaurants. No.
Exactly. And I just think it's like, the media and their narrative around it. And I was like, if you went to one, I was blown away. And I know that you've been to here in Long Island City. Like the coordinator, whoever put this together. And thank you for setting me up on Justice for George so I can see everything going on. Like hand sanitizer, a nurse was walking around with a sign and had a backpack full of stuff, mask. There was ice cream for kids. I said,
Yeah.
who's thinking like the real people fighting for justice is not what's being portrayed all the time on the media or what you see or what you decide to listen to and believe. Like you just want to believe this is called, my neighbor is like, oh, all these racial riots and all the COVID's going to go up. I was like, first of all, there's not, this is protest for people's rights
If that was the case, then
and
the numbers in New
life.
York would have skyrocketed because people have been protesting since the beginning of the month.
Right. And then that leads to other questions like then masks, I guess, actually really do work. That's just my belief. I know there's a lot of people talking about that too, whatever. Um, but it's just, I'm happy that you're having these conversations. Do you ever prep for them or do you just fall into them? What do you feel?
I just fall into them. Somebody makes a comment and then I just can't stay quiet anymore. And I'm not actually well versed. I'm still learning so much about the Black culture and even my Latin heritage. I have so much more learning to do, and every day it's like, oh, I didn't know that. So, also in my business, as I want it to grow, I'm learning how to not deal with others, but what do other people want? And how can I make it even more diverse? I mean, and it's so hard to make it diverse, I feel like, with Raleigh Bold, because how do you ask people to be part of your campaign because you want to show diversity? Like,
I mean, I think you honestly,
I'm not going to
yeah.
say, oh, I'm looking for a Latina who's like 5 feet, curly hair, and caramel complected. I literally just want it to be for whoever wants to be part of it. And every time I'm like, I hope people of different races and ethnicities feel compelled to show their beauty. And thankfully, it's happened that way.
Yeah, I think you've done an amazing job having it happen organically.
Yeah.
And while you do represent diversity and inclusivity of all, like I was so impressed, and I mentioned the first shoot where I was a part of, I was like, oh my God, I'm like 41 years old. Why does she want me? And I was like, and when I got there, I was just so impressed. And I figured it would be diverse with size. And we're all different sizes, different ages, and different race, different hair colors. Like I really enjoyed it. And it was just so organic and natural that I never met anyone. And I don't think most people did not know each other, like you and your sister, but nobody, I don't think, right? You just
Yeah.
met. And when really women just come together in a community and just not much of no agenda, just sitting there chit-chatting, talking, but then all of a sudden it just grew. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just a beautiful thing that you're pulling together this community. And like you said, it's going to happen organically because that's who you are, and that's the energy you give out.
Thank you. That's the goal. I honestly, it's nice to hear that because I can't tell unless things are actually moving. This year, I wanted to be more hands-on to build the community and have events and empower others through other people's stories. But obviously, COVID put a halt. But
Yeah.
we're doing what we can, and we did pause a little bit on these monthly events, but I think we'll pick up next month and see.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think diversity, like, I come from Long Island and it wasn't super, super diverse. And then when I moved to New York now almost 20 years ago, I think again it happened kind of organically for me because also I've been curious about other culture and other women and their stories. And the more that I learned about the person, I always take this quote from Brene Brown and she's like, it's hard to hate from, and I'm paraphrasing, it's hard to hate close up, so lean in. So it's like hard for me to believe that if you actually leaned into a conversation or got to know somebody and really went into like, that's why I like to call this beyond small talk. How can you truly hate a person? Now, there's people that I've had conversations that I don't like them, but there's no like hate in my heart. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I grew up in California and all of my friends were Mexican. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't diverse. And as soon as I moved to
Hmm.
New York, I have friends from like so many different backgrounds, religions, and California is diverse, but I don't know. It was just like the bubble that I was in. I just love. I love actually experiencing diversity every day and learning from one another. And if I would have stayed in that bubble, how am I going to grow? What am I going to learn?
Hmm.
So I think,
Yeah, it feels nice learning about other people in different cultures. And I saw a coworker friend of mine jumped on, and I don't know if she's still there, but she has taught me so, so much. Um, and it's nice to have open conversations and a little fun with it too. Like, I understand that our topic is really super heavy all the time,
mhm,
but I've also enjoyed some of the joy around it and the joy of learning about someone else and the joy of like, oh my god, like light bulb in the head
yeah,
when I finally understood, well, understood when I was first taught about my privilege, 8, 9 years ago in a room with 13 women that represented all different, we just represented everything. And when I was literally taught in such a loving, compassionate way, I was like, boop, light bulb went off.
yeah,
And I think that's what happens when you're amongst diversity, growth, like what you said,
right,
pure and utter growth.
yeah.
So before we end, do you have any tips you would like to share around either your self-care? Because a lot of these conversations, like we mentioned, takes a lot out of you emotionally. I get a little anxiety, and or how would you like start a conversation like this with somebody? Or
Um,
like you said, it just happens to you, but are
as
you
far as
willing to like start the conversation? Yeah.
as far as self-care, I think we just need to find whatever brings us joy and do more of that. And I feel like it's okay to do whatever brings you joy right now because
Hmm.
these are dark, uncertain times. And crying is exhausting, feeling anxious is exhausting. Um, and honestly, just whatever brings you joy, just do some of it and don't feel guilty for
Yeah.
it. And as far as having these conversations, um, I don't know. Again, because I'm not around them often, I'm not one
Hmm.
to like bring it up. However, when I do see posts or interesting links that I feel like my family isn't aware of, I share them in case they're inclined to learn a little bit, even if they don't tell me
Hmm.
anything, which they never respond when I share information. So I haven't been starting conversations, but I've been sharing information, and I will
Hmm.
correct them when I feel like they're wrong.
Yeah. And I guess the
And I'm
conversation just can
still
start out
learning
of you sharing.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. You could just infinitely learn about like how, I mean, the schools haven't taught you the right information. Like we have to go and search it out ourselves.
And because we
Um,
don't experience it with, well, I haven't experienced it to a certain extent as Black people have. Like whatever I think would be a good solution is actually not. So it's been interesting to
yeah.
see and whatever, because I've seen other bigger companies post their solutions, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Then I'll read the comments, and they're like, no, we need this. It's like, oh, it's interesting. And then I understand why. This is, to me, this might feel like something new because I haven't experienced it, but they literally live with this every single day. So what
Yeah.
the solution I feel like is right, it's not, because I don't live with this every day. I haven't lived with this for 400 years. So
Exactly.
still learning.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences and giving us some tips and tools. And again, everyone, this at Rolly Bold wearing check her out women's empowerment line. I love it. Thank you. Oh, you have yours too. Rise Up. I have Rise Up in Black. Thank you so much, Pam. Or follow her at Hey Pam D. I love your handle. It's very so you, so cute. I love it. Thank
Yeah.
you again. And check me out next week with another co-host at Beyond Small Talk, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.